and welcome here to the How to Craft Network studio on Monday. My name's Simon Williamson and I'm here from AVAGO-INK Designs. Thank you for joining me. I can see lots of your comments already. I did notice lots of comments about people saying they've got lots of craft stash to use. It's perfectly fine to watch these shows for inspiration. You don't have to purchase. It's they're just to inspire you and give you something to watch as well. But it's nice so many of you can join me today. So, you should have got notifications anyway, but if not, if you just click the like and subscribe buttons, then you'll always know when there's a broadcast happening or any news that you need to be informed of. And also, if you like to leave a comment, that's really good as well, so other people can see your opinion on things like that. So, let's start off with the first demonstration. This is the card that we're going to be making. I'll put this one up there. So I thought we'd do a nice, bright, cheery card. So everybody can just replace the weather that's happening outside, really. It's a bit dreary up here, a bit rainy. So I'm going to show you how to make this card. It's quite a simple one, but it's an effective one. So let's get started. And if you've got any questions, ask them as we go along, okay? So I'm just going to put a piece of paper down, so I'm going to be using some ink. And I'm going to ink straight onto a card blank that I've already got. I've got my trusty Distress Oxide colours. I always like the Mowed Lawn, Salty Ocean for the sky, and then we're going to use the yellows, Mustard Seed and the Spicy Marmalade for the actual sun. Okay, so what I start off by doing is I'm just going to make sure I've got the card the right way around. I'm going to start putting a hill in. What I'm going to do is bring this down about halfway from this edge. Just circular motions, just to catch that edge as we go. You can tape your stencil down as well, but for this I don't think you need to. You'll see what I mean. So putting a little bit more pressure on where the stencil edge is, just to give a crisper line. And I want to move this. I'm going to put another hill at the opposite side in a different position. And same again, just put a little bit of pressure on that cut edge. I'm going to move that down now. Let's go for a hill over here. And don't worry as well if they don't connect up, as we can always go over with a light ink pad afterwards. There we go. And we're going to continue that just down there, I think. How are you all doing today anyway? See, lots of you have joined us. There's no conversation today. I mean, we've had biscuits in the past and all sorts. I was having a look earlier on. You can see this white area here. It's too white for me, so I'm just going to go in with my ink pad and just blend that down a little bit, just to meet the other hill that's below. I don't lose that definition either that we've already put in. And we'll do the same with this bottom one here. There you go, we've got some nice hills starting off there. So now I'm going to put a sun in this little valley that I've created here. I'll just hold that up for you, can see that? You can see it gives it a bit of a depth there. And I'm purposely not put too much in the base because we're going to put some more layers on top of that in a second. I'm going to put that down. And what I've previously done is I've just got a piece of scrap card and I've got a circle into there. And we're going to use that as like a mask for our sun, okay? So where possible, I'm just going to put my stencil as best as I can to stop me going over too much of the green line there. And I'm going to use that as where I want the sun. And I'm just going to swap now to the mustard seed yellow. I'm just going to build that colour up from the edge down to those hills. I can see by lots of your comments you've all been enjoying the sales that have been happening. You've got lots of naughty stuff. Myself included, I've had a few purchases, I've got to say. So, nice bright yellow sun going down to the hilltops. I'm just going to swap over to the spice marmalade. Just a little bit more of an orangey colour, just to take a bit of definition off that edge. Make it blend a little bit more of interest. There we go. If I lift that up, you can see it gives like a two-tone sun. I'll move that one away so we don't need that one. And then what I'm going to do now is just going to alter this, hold it up for you. We're going to use the stencil, which was from one of the previous releases, the cloud one, and we're just going to add a little bit of depth into the top half, going a little bit darker, paler towards the actual hill line. So we're going to do that now, using the Salty Ocean is what I've chose for this one. I keep looking up at your conversations, and every time I do, I see things like cream egg. Okay, so dabbing some of the excess off, I'm just going to circle motions again, just to build that skyline up. I'm going a little bit heavy on this top line, just to give it a bit of definition as well. Make it a little bit. Okay, I'm going to move that down. And you don't have to do complete clouds everywhere. You can just pick up the areas that you want. I'm going to do a little bit there, look. I'm going to move it over to this side. And we'll do a bit there. And then we'll just finish off a few clouds lightly at the bottom. And one just at this side off this edge. Okay, we've got as quite effective really, just using them stencils. We've got a really nice background, ideal for any characters you've got at home as well. You could use this for the farm animals, the dinosaurs that we've released, or I'm sure you've got some in your stash that you can do. Selma says, sorry she's late. Don't worry, nobody's late. We've not really started, we've just been doing a background to start off with. I'm just going to put my ink covers on a second, get these out of the way. Now what I'm going to do is I want some sun rays coming from this sun. I've just got a piece of scrap card. I'm just going to cut like a really thin triangle almost. And it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. You can see there I've got like a triangular piece. I hold it up the green, you'll be able to see that, I think. Ooh, best as I can. So I've just really thin, narrow kind of shape, and we're going to use this to radiate from the sun. So we'll start off with the yellow. Ooh, ink pads are running away. Pop that there. And we're just going to simply stencil from the centre going outwards. And it's going over the clouds, that's intentional. I want this to look like it's glowing, like a morning. There we go. I'm going to do the same here. And it doesn't matter if they're closer to the sun or further away. I'll just put one up here. And that's why I like to use them white gaps in the clouds, just to pick out this yellow as well. And I'm just going to go back in with the slightly orangey colour, Spice Marmalade. I'm going to go around again and just do some slightly closer in, just to give a bit of different tone to that. And that's one thing with these distressed oxides, is that they actually go over other colours really well. There we go. I think we'll have one more over this side. We'll lift that up. We've got a really nice sunny morning now. And that's what's going to be the background for our scene. So I'll just move them out of the way. I'll hold that up so you can all see it. Ooh, inky fingers. So that sun really works. And like you see, the orange and the yellow layer on top of that blue really well. I haven't tried it with anything else but oxides, but I know that these layer really well. So it's a good tip to use that. I'm going to put that up to one side. Get rid of this piece of paper. In a recent show, I bought this die, the Fern Aperture die. So I've just simply cut 2 lots of these out in green to give some kind of fern pieces for the card that we're going to be using. So if you've got one of these in your collection, you could use this, but if not, just find a foliage kind of die that you've got to give some kind of branch for the house to stand on. And I'm just going to tone this down a bit now. So although it's a lovely green, it's a little bit too uniform in the colour. So I found an old distress ink pad, walnut stain. It's a bit dry, this one. I'm sure we've all got one of these pads at the back of his cupboards that's a little bit on its last legs, shall we say. Just going to pick up some from the ink pad. I'm just going to go down where the stalk would be, just to give a bit of a texture. And just break up that green. And I'm not bothered if it looks hit and miss. That's why I've chose this texture paper. But it will just help. There we go. So Montgomery 506, a very uplifting, cheerful background. Oh, thanks for that. Oh, it's from Lynn, not Montgomery. The same on this one. It just breaks those bits up. And if I had a wet ink pad, I think it would just suck too much of the colour away. Just carry that outwards for them leaves. Really good as well for picking up the texture in the card that you've already got. And I've purposely on this card, I've not put a sentiment on it, so you could put your own inside. I don't think it actually needs one on the outside. There you go. So that just has a little bit of depth to these leaves. And all I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to snip them out of these frames that it cut from so we can release them. So we're just going to start at the bottom. That's it. I do love this die though, I've got to say. That's one piece. And we'll do the same for the other side. And any bits that you want to like leave in your design, you could always just re-snip to make them look a bit like leaves. There you go. We've got 2 nice bits there. I'm going to clear this rubbish away. I'll bring my card back in. I've got this larger piece, which I'm going to use in the bottom corner. And I just think it's a perfect way of having them little owl characters along a branch. And I've got this top half just to take a bit of balance to the card, really. So I'm going to stick these down where I want them to be, but on some of these leaves, to add a bit of texture, I can put some foam pads underneath to give them a bit of height. So we'll stick down the majority, then we can go back in with a foam pad afterwards. Let's start on this one. And I'm not being too precise with this because you don't really need it. And if they lift up a little bit, it adds more texture. Let's pop that down about there. Let's do the same for the top one. Ooh. Trying to get glue on my fingers. And that's just going to creep in there like it's a tree almost, overlapping what we're doing. Stick that down. Let that grab a second. And I'm just going to trim these bits off that we don't need. So best way to do this for me is turn it over the card and it gives me a bit of a line to follow then. You could use your like your trimmer as well, but because it's wet glue, I'm trying to make it not move while I'm holding it. And then the same up here. And then we'll go along that top bit. Got my bigger scissors from there. There we go. Just wipe that glue off so it doesn't stick to any. You can see now we're getting a really sunny kind of background. If I hold that up for you, sorry. So we've got some right depth now. We've got that sun in the background, we've got those trees in the foreground, and we've created a really nice perch here for his owls to stand on. And what I've done ahead of time is I've actually coloured these owls in ready, just because I think on a morning you want glazy eyes like you've just woke up. So I've given them like glossy accents for eyes so that they can see that. A bit shiny. You see with the lights, if I just, there you go. I've done their eyes, I've done the coffee cups, and I've done the like little mugs that they're holding and the love hearts. Just gives a little bit more tone. I'd have normally done it here, but it wouldn't have dried in time to show you, so. And then we're going to simply put our family together. So I think we're going to have Daddy Owl up there. Then we'll have this one just at this edge of the perch. And on the baby owl, I'm going to put two foam pads on to give it more height. And that way, it'll stand proud of Mum and Dad almost. There you go. So May loves this, she says. Out of the way for you. You can see there, it's just a quick, simple card. They look like they've just got up in the morning. Really nice scenery, sunny background, and really easy to put your own sentiment inside as well. So it's just a quick idea for you all, really. So I hope you enjoyed that first demonstration. And then the next one I've got's going to be like an embossing demonstration. So while I set up for that, we're just going to run a video with some inspiration from the collection, what the lovely design team put together. So I will see you in a second when I've set up for the next demonstration. hope you enjoyed that video there. I can see lots of your comments. Let's have a look what some of them say. So Sarah says, what's next on the horizon? Oh, that's giving me secrets away of that. I can't tell you. As soon as I do know, though, we will put out sneak peek and we'll let you know. So make sure you have subscribed to the channel, then you'll get all the notifications, won't you? Great card, lovely tips. Thank you, Simon. Brilliant. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Looks like you like that first card. Brilliant. Yeah, the design team's done some lovely samples as well, haven't they? But I say they've got some really nice techniques, especially like pencil crayons and that. It's brilliant. Right, so let's get on with this next demonstration. So this one's going to be focused on using the embossing powders. So if I put that up there for you. So this is going to be using that coffee bean stamp that we've got, which is in the new Owl collection. And I'm going to show you how we can make it fill a whole card, okay? So really simple one, this one. I'll put that to that side. I'll just bring in our stamping platform. I've already pre-cut down a piece of white card that we need to fill the actual centre of his card. I'm just going to try and get away, put a magnet on this one. It's a really big stamp, this, and it should just fit on perfectly. I'll do it there. Oop. Let me just put that magnet a bit further, but it's not grabbing it there. We'll go again. I'm going to use my Versamark pad. You could do this on top of coloured card as well, but I want to use white embossing, so I thought I'd go for just white card. Ooh. It just slipped off then, so we'll go with it. I'll bring that back up. And it should line up if I put it on here, so we're just going to put it as best as I can now, so it just moves slightly. I'm going to do exactly the same. We'll see if we can get away with this one. It just moved again. I think I need to wash my stamp. It's not as sticky as it should be. Here we go. Okay, I'm just going to move that away. And while this is still sticky, I brought some white embossing powder. So this is opaque bright white by the Wow Embossing collection. I'm sure we've all got some embossing powder in this collection now. I'm going to make sure we'll give it a really good covering. When it's a larger stamp like this, I tend to just go from one side as much as I can. And then when we tilt it up, it should hopefully catch all those other areas. Okay, so you can see where it's kind of like slipped a little bit, but I don't think it'll mind, because it'll all have the coffee bean kind of thing to it. If I try and tilt that, I don't know if you can see that yet. I'm just going to put it to one side just a second, and then move this loose powder out of the way. Many a times I've spilt all the embossing powder, so I always tidy this up as I go along now. There you go, and that's out the way. I'm just going to use the heat gun now, and we're going to see what we've got. Nearly there. There we go. So what does Elizabeth say? She says, I put my stamp the wrong way down, inked it, and then stamped it when I got a funny image. I've done that myself, I've got to say. I think sometimes as well you sleep, don't you? And you wonder what's gone wrong. You just don't kind of grasp it. Okay, so it's hard for you to see at the moment, but we've got some like lovely white coffee beans on this card. I have got the areas where it's kind of slipped and I've got double on there. But what we're going to do is we're going to rescue this card because this happens in real life, don't it? And we don't want to ruin a piece of card that we've started. So let's change the design slightly and we'll make this into a nice card. So I'm going to start off by making 3 bold colours. Plenty of water in these to make sure we've got enough. Okay, so let's go for like purple. I want it quite strong this, so make sure we've got enough up there. And then we'll go for an orangey colour. Oh, that's a nice bold colour, isn't it? And then in the middle we'll go for a red to join the two up. So I think this is better red actually. There we go, tone it down a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to get some paper towel. I'm going to start off with the dark purple at the top of this card. So you will see those coffee beans will be coming through now. If you want a bit more depth, you can always go back in for some more pigment. And I just brush that back and forth, make sure I've got a nice block of colour almost. And I'm going to go in with a red colour, straight up to the purple. And have a bit more red in that. And don't worry about this paint being over top of the embossing, as we're going to fix that in a second. And then we've got this orangey colour for the base. Reminds me a bit of fruit salad sweets, this. There we go. We've got nice saturation of them 3 colours. I'm just going to take the watercolours away. I'm just going to give this a quick blast with a heat gun just to is that watercolour card or just sort of, it's just a piece of ordinary stamping card. Just because of the cost of watercolouring cards a little bit dear, isn't it? So I thought I'd keep the actual cost down for it. There you go. Move that out of the way. So you can see that we've put the paint now back over where we've embossed. So it's kind of discoloured the embossing a little bit. So what I want to use now is just a baby wipe, just to take that pigment back off. And it'll leave our embossing a bit brighter. You can see it's coming back already. I also find it softens the lines as well, where we've put the orange and the red and the purple. It just gives them a bit of an extra nudge in case they've not blended perfectly. I'm happy with that. And you can see where I've got the error, where I've actually dropped the stamp there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide that by putting some ribbon across it. It's going to change the design slightly from the card we had. And I'm going to start off by just layering that onto some black card to start off with. Let's get my tape runner for this one. I'm sure we've all got tape runners, haven't we? I don't think there's a crafter out there that's not made a mistake with a card and salvaged it, though, I've got to say. Let's put that onto that black background. Give that a good push down. There we go. So on the original, if I put them side by side, you can see I was originally going to put some ribbons up here, but because I've got this like line now where my stamp slip, one of them is going to go across there because it'll just hide it so much. Oh, instantly that looks better. So we're going to put one there. So we'll get this prepped first of all. And the best way I found with this ribbon, especially because it's so open in the middle, is to attach it all on the back. I'm going to put a run of double-sided down one side and the same down the opposite side. This is when I remember I should have brought my pokey tool to get this off. But butterflies have had a lot of my mistakes in the past. Well, I'm going to say, it won't be the first time I put 2 sentiments on a card just to hide a mistake. I'm just going to hold this off the glass mat so it doesn't stick down. And we're going to go for one there. Push that down there, push that down there. So we're already starting to hide that join line that we'd got a problem with. So I've got another 2 pieces of ribbon now. Let's have a think. So, let's try and go a bit crisscrossy. That's quite nice, isn't it? And then we can... I think we're going to go this side. Turn that over. Just secure that. Just need a bit more sticky up there so I didn't put my tape. There you go. It's a bit more abstract, this one, but it'll work. And I've already got a top fold card, which I've mounted on pink, and that'll just give a really nice backdrop to this card that we're going to stick on now, okay? So let me just get some more glue on this. I'm going to have it this way. Move it up just a tad. Push that down. Okay, so I'm just going to put that to one side just for a second. And then I'm going to make the actual character now for the card. So, bring in my stamping platform again. Hopefully it won't drop off this time. Ooh, these magnets are strong. So I'm going to use that, it's like a load of cupcakes and sweet and a treat stamp from the Owl collection. I'll show you once I've stamped it, but it's easy to see once it's stamped. I'm just doing it like in a corally orange colour. That'll go with the watercolours that we've already used. I'm just going to go in again, just so we can get a nice crisp image on that. I'll just put that under there for a second. And you can see on that, it's just really detailed, that stamp. You've got loads of like muffins, cupcakes, donuts, macaroons, I think there's in the background. And it really adds a bit of interest to your card. You don't need to do a lot with it. I'm just going to use it as it is without colouring it in or adding any more texture. I'm just going to quickly dry it off so it's not too wet. There we go. I'm just going to bring my stamping platform back in. And what I'm going to do on this, I'm just going to give it a quick brush with the anti-static powder. So I'm going to emboss on top of this, and I don't want the embossing to actually pick it up. I just want it to stick where we put it, so that's all on there. And I'm going to stamp out one of the little owl characters. And I'm going to stamp out better latte than never as a sentiment. It doesn't exactly matter where you put them on here, but we're just going to use this as a background before we die cut them out. Right, okay, let me just wet them because we're going to have the same issue, aren't we? I think it's supposed to be embossing powder's kind of spilled in the tin, so it's took the stickiness of the stamps. Like that. There you go, they're picking up now. I'm going to go in with VersaFine Black. And stamp them into position. And I want a really good crisp image on these. I'm going to go in once more. I think that I'll just move then, so let me just fold it over. It might be all right. We'll go for it. There you go, perfect. I'm going to take those, put them on top of here. You can see we've got quite a bold image now on top of the background. And before this dries, I'm just going to go in with some clear embossing powder just over the black areas. It'll just help it get a bit more texture and a bit of shine as well. Just make sure that that's covered. Knock off the excess. There we go. Put my lid back on. Don't have more accidents today. And we're going to heat emboss this now just to give it a really glossy black kind of look to these owls. Here we go. There you go. I'm just going to bring up my die cutting plates. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut out the large owl using one of the circle dies. We can position that wherever we need to. That's why it didn't matter where we stamped him. And then we've got a smaller one, the actual sentiment. And I'm just going to grab my masking tape. What's that, so Sarah? The bin hides my mistakes well. It is nice, though, to challenge yourself, isn't it, to salvage a card that's gone a little bit wrong, I've got to say. You get a sense of achievement when you manage it. And many cards I've managed to cut down as backgrounds for others. They're all stuck in place. I'm going to pop this through the die cutter. Are you all crafting along today then? I bet you're still getting through your sale goodies if you're having them delivered now. Here we go. Let's move these plates out of the way. So we've got us now centerpiece. Just peel that tape off. Now. And we've got a sentiment there. And then ahead of time, what I've done is I've cut out a larger layering for both of them. I'm going to stick these on just to give them a bit of a border really, so it makes the main sentiment image actually pop. You see on there? Let's get that stuck on top of that one. We'll do the same with the sentiment. There we go. I'm going to raise them up by putting some foam pads on the back just to give it some height difference. All those bits off the back so we can stick them down. Let's have a think where we can put these now, which looks best. I'm thinking we might be able to go. I think we might go this way for this one. Or could we go? No, let's go the completely opposite way. So let's go for one up here. And we'll put that little sentiment down here. And then I've got just a few gems which you can put on where you need. So I think we're going to put, let's have a think, put one there, one there. I think these are from Tony's shop, these little gems. I love them. They're like black and blue, almost very glittery. And there you go. So we've salvaged that a little bit, but I don't think you'd know. Ooh. Unless somebody told you that that was, it was like an error that were covered up well. I don't think you'd know if you just saw it like that. Now what I'll do is I'll stand the other card up to it in a second as well. You can see the other variation. So two different looks. Both with a bit of ribbon, which I'm sure you've got in your collection. This one was the original idea, but we had to adapt a little bit, but I think they've come out very well. Do you think I got away with that, everybody out there? Let's look at your comments. Oh, May says the lovely make, so that I must have done well, then I've salvaged it. Great save card, Simon from Hazel, that's nice. Oh, well, that's good. That's all that matters. So a bit of inspiration there. So that shows you how to use your backing stamps to make a whole background. And the embossing makes it pop. And then obviously the baby wipe is a good way of taking any residue off to make that embossing powder come back out. So that's it for today. And thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that. And we'll have a look at some more cards next week. I'm thinking we might go a bit more three-dimensional next week and make something, a little bit different to what I've done up to now. So hopefully you can join me for that tomorrow. Next week, sorry. Okay, thanks very much for today, and we'll see you soon. Bye.